The one they call the Big Daddy Kane is here as the party animal, sex symbol, soloist, vocalist, microphone miracle, here to react, attack. As a matter of fact, I bring forth a sudden impact. Wanna say knick-knack, paddywhack, give Kane a microphone, and all the other MCs are going.
At the Grand Concourse 149th Street Station in the Bronx, graffiti writers gather at what they call the Writers' Bench.
Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on!
What's good? What's good? Live from the Rise Bench, it's your man Kill. We got my soldiers on deck. We got JP, Grab Lover, Ed. What's going on, y'all?
Peace, everybody. What's up, y'all?
Everything good, everything good. Yo, shouts to the boy B's on Vic. They may jump in, prayerfully they will. If not, you know, we still gotta hold it down anyway. Yo, we gonna get right into this joint. I guess we can kind of call this show the Battle Royal of hip hop in terms of, if you're a hip hop head, you've been in these discussions probably a million times. What's better, Low End Theory or Midnight Marauders? You know, what's better, Mecca and the Soul Brother or the main ingredient? You know, what's better, you know, Ghostface, Iron Man, or Supreme Clientele? You know, cats go back and forth with it. So we figured, yo, we want to do a show that's just us sitting here chopping it up. And it's probably going to have to be a part two because there's so many joints. You know, when we did the list, it was just like, yo, we ain't going to be able to really chop it up about each one the way we want to. So this is kind of part one of the whole entire joint. You know, so we're going to jump right into it. This joint is, I think, the joint that I always hear the most. What's better, Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, or Midnight Marauders? You know what I'm saying? Since I try to show respect to the boroughs and where everybody's from, so we're going to start with JP. That's Queens. Which joint do you prefer and why?
Midnight Marauders is my favorite Tribe album. And I think because for the most part, the beats on Midnight Marauders was that much better. Sucker Nigga is probably one of my favorite beats. You know, Award Tour, Lyrics to Go, crazy. You know what I'm saying? I remember hearing Lyrics to Go, and I was like, it took me. I think I didn't find out till years later that the high pitch was actually Minnie Riperton's voice. Like, I didn't know it was her voice. You know what I'm saying? Until years later, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. But I mean, you know, the Low End Theory, dope album. You know, Butter was one of my favorite songs from that album. But I mean, I think the War Tour was just overall better, man. I really can't break down each song for song, but I remember how it made me feel when I first bought it and listened to it, and I was like, yo, who thought they could get better than Low End Theory? But they did. To me, I'm a Midnight Marauders fan. It's just that simple for me.
All right. What you say, Grant?
I could run with that with JP, but my overall between the two is definitely Low End Theory. That was like, I don't know, that just opened me up on them, like, and it was just I don't know, it was just something about that album, man, like that just opened me up on them, man. Just like made me say, yeah, these dudes are really the truth. I mean, the first album for me, like some people don't really jive with the first album. The first album for me let me know that they were gonna be an incredible group, you know what I mean? But that second album really is what solidified it for me. But I feel like JP, like that Midnight Marauders, definitely what they stepped it up. You know what I mean? But for me, I'm a first album dude. To me, that was like their true first album. You know what I mean? Low End Theory. You know what I mean? And Midnight Marauders for me felt like they overcame their sophomore jinx, even though that was their third album. You know what I mean? But it just felt like that too. Like, all right, like they came into their sound, like for real, like the first album is dope. Don't get me wrong, I love that joint too. That's a classic. But that Low End Theory is like, to me, their first album. It just feels like it just has a first album feel with me. I don't know why, but it just does, and I just love it. And you know, not to be biased, but Big Bro, you know, contributed to the joint. So that always puts a little, you know, edge on it. You know what I mean? So yeah, but Low End Theory, man, that's me right there.
All right, what you got, Ev?
Oh man, it's a tough one. They're both are classics, but I have to go with Midnight Marauders, only because, and I agree with both what Graf and JB is saying, is that like Low End Theory does open you up, and it shows so much artistry that they have. I just feel like Midnight Marauders, they kind of like perfected their sound.
Yes.
As if I could say it that way, I feel like they perfected the sound for Midnight Marauders. It's the only reason why, and it's like it's only like a slight smidgen of the reason why I give it to Midnight Marauders, because it's something about Low End. Like even for me, when it comes to those type of albums and going back and forth, I still listen to it today and see how I feel about it. And Low End just really does still open you up, and it just pulls you right in. There's something about Midnight that just like, I don't know, it just takes you somewhere. So for me, I have to say Midnight Marauders.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, another reason why I love chopping it up with y'all is because y'all bring so much insight to things I really never thought about. And I was thinking about what Grap just said, kind of being like Low End was really their first album. You know, I never really looked at it like that because I was one of those people who really wasn't feeling Tribe with People Instinctive. Like, I like joints off of it. You know what I'm saying? But I really don't. What happened?
I love the first album too.
Me too.
It was dope.
Yeah, and I'm like, I totally get that. I'm one of the few people who I like. You know, I like Bonita Applebum. I like the joints, but as a whole, like, I never really felt the whole album. I really started feeling Tribe, the Can I Kick It remix, that video. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when the drums started getting harder, like, that Can I Kick It video remix to me is, with the Baby Huey break, it's so much harder to me than the original one, and that kind of is what made me like the joint. But and then I'm thinking about what Ev said about how they kind of perfected their sound with Midnight. You know what I mean? So I would probably have to give my vote to Midnight because it's kind of just like, and it's a hard choice. You know what I mean? Because I really am sitting here like the same way everybody was like, yo, like Low End Theory really got me open, because to me, they sound like a completely different group to me from People's Instinctives. You know what I mean? Even their look. Like, I remember being, yo, why these dudes look like these weirdo dudes? And then I see Low End Theory, and then I see Check the Rhyme, and I'm like, oh shit, like they got on baseball caps, dirt. Like now they regular dudes. Like, I always compare the roots to them, because when you listen to Do You Want More and then Illadelph Half-Life, they sound like two totally different groups. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the same thing with Tribe. Like, they sound completely different on Low End, and like you said, JP, I mean, Butter. I remember hearing Butter for the first time and just being like, oh, that's why Phife is in the group. Because I was always like, why is this dude even here? Like, what is he for? You know what I mean? But hearing Butter, I was like, oh, okay. And then, of course, everything. But like you said, Sucker Nigga, that's probably one of my favorite beats. You know what I mean? And I really,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I really think that like Midnight was one of the first albums where I really started digging like hard in '94, and it was like being able to find the sample, you know, having the Red Clay and the joint for Electric Relaxation, and like you said with the Minnie Riperton joint, just like, it was like they just perfected their sound, and it was just the perfect album. So I mean, hard choice, most definitely. You know, I would have to go with Midnight too. You know what I mean? So on to our next joint. You know, this is it. We threw this joint out, and it's because neither group really had a dope second album to compare it to, but they're in the same crew, they're from the same clique. Both albums are amazing. Black Moon's Into the Stage versus Smith & Wesson's Shining joint. So, nobody's here from Brooklyn, so we'll go with. No, we ain't got nobody from Brooklyn up here. So, Ev, we gonna start with you.
Surprisingly,
I know you're a big Duck Down, Black Moon, boot camp click dude, just like I am. Who do you go with on this joint? Which album do you prefer?
You know what, man? I really didn't want to answer this one, be honest. Because it's so difficult, and for me, like, Buck was one of my top MCs. Buck made me want to start writing rhymes. So there's a personal connection to that Into the Stage album. But then Johnny was just, it was just beautiful dirt, man. It was just like, Dirt, like God.
Golden Dirt, man. Golden Dirt.
Exactly. Then you got Tech and Still, who is like, as far as like MCs and In and Out, one of the In and Out,
Right.
Duos out there. God, man. Do we have to? Do I have to make one?
Yes. Yes. Gun to your head. Yes, gun to your head, son.
All right. I hear you. Gun to my head. Here we go. All right. Then I would have to say, The Shining, man. I'm gonna have to I feel like
I knew he was gonna say it. I knew he was gonna say The Shining.
The Shining, yeah. All right. And I'm gonna say that because I can't even. All right, that's it. You got your answer. I can't even say no more, man. I'm done.
Oh, I feel you, son.
It's out, right?
Yowza.
All right, let me go, because I'm one of the few cats, and this is totally off topic, but at the time it was always like, Wu-Tang was big and Boot Camp was, and I was always a much bigger Boot Camp clique dude than Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? I always liked that crew better. But I would have to say The Shining too, man, because I think it's going back to touching on what we just talked about with Tribe as far as the beat miners. I really think that they perfected with that Shining album. I really think they got it. And I think that's one of the things, and I'm sure Grab will go into it more when we get into, another debate that's coming up. But just as far as people perfecting their sounds and everything like that, and just all of us being producers and MCs or being creative people, understand, like, I don't want some people to hear some of the first beats I made on the ASR 10. Like, you may not want somebody to hear some of the first rhymes you wrote. And to a lot of the MCs that we grew up on, these were their first beats. These were the first rhymes that they wrote. And it's kind of like when Into the Stage, and we talked about before, I can always kind of tell that, you could tell that they did How Many MCs kind of towards the end, because you kind of felt Buck now perfecting his flow almost, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of led you into the Buckshot that was going to be coming with the I Got You Open remix and the Buck 'Em Down remix. Like that. But The Shining, man, I mean, that thing was just so, oh man, I'm just looking at it now. I mean, everything, like, this is just 5 mics to me. Like, everything was just perfect about this album. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, Ev, that we had to hold the gun to your head, but Into the Stage, incredible album. I mean, I love this. This is what started the Boot Camp clip, but I definitely think that, Smith & Wesson got it with The Shining. JP, what you think?
It's not going to be as hard, and I'm not going to drag it out like Ev, but you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, JP. My man.
When I think about Into the Stage and first hearing who got the props, right? And thinking how because it all goes back to how it makes you feel when you first heard those songs, and from that, like, how it made you feel, what type of impact it had. So when I think about that, and I'll be like, oh, Who Got the Props was so ill, and then they came out with the album, all that. But then I think about Bucktown, and I'm like, it takes me back to so many parties. It takes me back to so many parties when they throw that song on, and I just be like, oh my god, this is crazy. So, and like you said, Smith & Wesson, they were the two MCs going back and forth, in and out. You really didn't get that with Black Moon, because it was basically just Buckshot. Right. But I'm gonna have to go with Into the Stage though, like that. Even though, and another thing, it's a technical, and I'm not the well versed, but technically, it wasn't the best mixed album either. Like, I feel like the mixes on there wasn't that great. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't sonically, crisp, but the beats were crazy to me. And Buckshot, man, his voice, his flow, his cadence, it did it for me, man. That album was crazy. So I'm gonna have to go with Into the Stage.
Right. Just a sidebar there, man, JP.
Wait. You said Into the Stage or The Shining?
Into the Stage.
Oh.
Yeah, I said '02. But that's dope, you know. But on the whole mix of the thing, man, it's so funny because I feel like half the hip hop albums that are classics prior to probably like '95.
Right.
You know, you listen to Jungle Brothers' first album, you know, cats talk about that mix. So you know what I mean? That to me that was just hip hop in those days. But rap.
All right. JP, you was gonna say something?
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. I feel like how you felt with the Tribe situation, Kill, with the perfection of the sound. With Enter the Stage, it was their entrance into the game as producers and beat miners, and then as they kept creating, the sounds that they put together for The Shining was like right there, you know what I mean? So for me, it would definitely, and then it's hard because I want to say Buck is the father of that style, that boot camp style. Am I correct?
I always thought it was still. I always thought behind the scenes it was still. That's just me personally.
Really?
Okay.
Like he was like assisting with some of that writing for Into the Stage, but that's word of mouth. Who knows whether or not that's true?
Okay. I just was taking it from Buck being I think he was the oldest, but that's very possible. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with The Shining, man. Shining. That album is that joint's crazy. The beats, you know what I mean? They're like you said, that back and forth cadence, that flow of theirs, that tag team flow when they're ready. Yeah, that's what was dope. That was dope.
Real quick, before we go on, like when you first brought the topic up to us and say, yo, this is what we're gonna talk about, I purposely did not go back and listen to these albums because I wanted to base it off how it made me feel when I first heard those albums back then. You know what I'm saying? I almost started listening to them, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna listen to them. I'm just gonna go off of what it was when I first heard those albums, how it made me feel, the impact.
Right. No doubt. In the Shopping Book out again, Brian Coleman, Check Technique, Volume 2. They got a whole dope chapter in here on the making of The Shining. And just talking about how, Smith and Wesson, even though, again, it wasn't, I guess, the right thing to do in the studio, but they would both be on the mic at the same time. You know what I mean? So that's why they got that back and forth flow like that. They were saying how, all of us being in the studio, most times like you go in the booth, drop your verses, but for them, they wanted to be in the booth at the same time on the same mic to kind of have that back and forth flow.
Which created some classic stuff, man. Dope.
Right, exactly. So, all right, for the third joint, we're going to go a little bit to R&B. We're going to go back in time a little bit. We're going to go with Marvin Gaye's I Want You versus What's Going On. You know what I'm saying? Two dope albums, incredible albums. Ev, I remember talking last week you spoke about some of your coworkers talking about this at the gig. So why don't you intro this in?
I had a coworker we were talking about What's Going On. And she was like, yeah, that's one of Marvin's favorite albums. And it's funny because she had said this shortly after I read the email as far as what albums we were going back and forth with. And when she said it, I was like, I don't know. And in that situation, it's almost brought up a debate. But for me, What's Going On? No, I'm sorry. I Want You. I Want You.
I was about to say, damn, bro.
Yeah, I Want You. My bad. The reason why I'm saying I Want You is because I Want You was a collaboration of not just Marvin Gaye, but also of
Leon Ware.
Leon Ware. It was actually a Leon Ware's album, and Marvin, basically the way Marvin delivered that thing was just amazing. So to me, Leon Ware, just an amazing writer, just amazing songwriter in the way he scripted his words together, and then you got Marvin in there to just add all that. And then you got cats like Wild Wild Watson in there. You just had it was just a beautiful piece of art. So in them tracks, man, from top to bottom, like I Want You is to this day one of those albums that I can put on and listen to from top to bottom, and it'll be over too fast. I'd be like that. So I got to run it back again, and I keep running it back. It just you go through it, and before you know, it's not like the songs are short or nothing like that. It's just such a just a well piece of thing, man. So I ain't gonna go so deep into it, but you know, for me, I Want You, one of my all-time favorite Marvin Gaye albums, anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. Grab what you got. I Want You. Or What's Going On?
What's Going On is definitely an incredible piece of work. That was like his monumental turn in who he was as an artist. You know what I mean? And him sort of taking control of his image and taking control of what he really wanted to say within creating music. But I Want You was just like, to me, it was just like, it reminds me of a sunburst. Like, it's just like, you know, like a climax. Like, you know what I mean? Not to, you know, because he was such a sexual and sensual type of dude, but not to refer to that. But that's what it reminds me of. It's like a sunburst or a climax of artistry coming from him. You know what I mean? Like, the way he manipulates those vocals, backgrounds, and this Come Live With Me, Angel. You know what I mean? What's the name did a version of it? Leon Ware with Minnie Riperton. Him and Minnie Riperton did a joint. It's called Comfort, I think.
Yeah.
And he did it by himself, and his by himself just lays that joint away. I mean, no disrespect, Leon and Minnie, they definitely did their thing, but I have both versions on my phone, and when Marvin's version comes out, that's when I'm really like bopping my head, and you know, and that's another thing about that album. It was sensual but funky too, which is not an easy combination to put together. You know what I mean? So definitely for me, man, it's I Want You.
Yo, Brad, what was the joint you said that Leon and May Riperton did? You said it's called Comfort?
Comfort, yeah. I think it's called Come Live With Me. It's called Comfort, subtitled Comfort or something like that.
I was sending to you. I have Leon Ware, that album by Leon Ware, pretty much.
It's called Musical Massage, right? The album?
Yeah, Musical Massage. Yeah, it's a dope project.
Yeah. Throw that in the Dropbox for me. I need to check that out. All right, no doubt. JP, who you got on? Which one you got?
Oh, this is a hard one. Because you know one of my favorite Marvin joints is on What's Going On. Isn't Inner City?
Yeah, Inner City.
Yeah, it makes me want to holler. Yeah. I love that record, man. I love that record, son. I love that record. But you know, I Want You, man. Even that track alone, man. It's so soulful and like, you know, and that's the vibe of that album, man. So if I think about it, you know, when I listened to those two albums years and years ago, I guess the greater impact was the I Want You album, man. Like, it was something about the album. Like, I can't even break it down sound for sound, but I just like, even though I love Mercy Me and What's Going On, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. You know, and that was like you said, Grab. That was that turning point. That album, that socially conscious album that, you know, it spoke to the times. You know what I'm saying? So. But it was something about I Want You, man, which was like, it really spoke to me. It was like a little bit more soulful as far as, you know, R&B is concerned. So I'm going to go with I Want You.
And I will want to add to that it seemed like it was a little more him than the other album. You know what I mean? Than what's the other album? What's Going On?
Yeah.
Yeah, then a little more. That seemed a little more intimately him, like a little more a peep into his soul, like. You know what I mean? Like, that what he did with What's Going On definitely was a part of his soul, but it was also a consensus type feel too, because that's how the people felt as well. Right. Mercy Me, What's Going On, Inner City Blue, you know, we can all relate to that. But with I Want You, it's like he went more in, you know what I mean, and dealt with his sensual side more so than his socio-political side. So, yeah, definitely, that's dope.
Funny for me, it was hard because the funny thing is, there's so many cats, you know, when I hear people talk, it's like, oh, I remember hearing Marvin growing up in my crib. And to be honest, my mom, being a jazz musician, I probably heard more jazz than I heard soul. You know, I don't kind of have that story of being like, oh, yeah, Sunday dinners, mom is playing Marvin or whatever like that. And it actually was an XXL magazine when it first dropped in '97. And it was this piece about D'Angelo. It was written by this chick, Tanya Pendleton. It was called Voodoo Child. And it was about him recording Voodoo. Now this is 97, and we all know Voodoo didn't come out till like 2000, so it's like that. But in that, D'Angelo was talking about how he studied Damascus, how he studied Marvin, how he studied James, how he studied, you know, Jimi Hendrix and everything like that. And it kind of made me be like, damn, you know, I don't know anything about them like that. You know what I mean? And my homegirl Maya from Philly, who I always say is one of the few shorties who knows so much more about music than I do, she would always be like, yo, all you know is the singles. Like, you ain't no real fan of these old soul because you just know the singles. And I remember me saying, okay, boom, when I get my first gig and I get some money, I'm going out and I'm buying all this great music and really going to listen to it. So I'm listening to Marvin's What's Going On. Of course, I heard the songs. You know what I mean? Like, you heard, it's like somebody, even if you don't watch ball, you know who Michael Jordan is. You know who Larry Bird is. You know those people. So, of course, I heard joints, but, yo, it's like you said, JP, that feel, and it's just as much as I love, and I'm with you with Inner City Blues. I mean, that's just, you know, one of my favorite songs, period. But it was just something about I Want You, man. It was, and I think rap, like you said, maybe it was the everything that just came together, but that album is just so fucking amazing to me, man. I mean, I think every album that we're going back and forth with is no diss to the other album as to say what was going on wasn't important, or, you know, Low End Theory wasn't important. They're all important albums, but I would have to say for me, man, that I Want You joint, because I think that was the first Marvin Gaye album, because I brought it, and this is just on my Dwayne from What's Happening, I just brought it for the cover, because I remember this was a good time. You know, when I first started working, it was like, yo, you know, coming out of college, I didn't have no gigs, so money was tight, so when I got my first gig, it was like, okay, let me start buying stuff, and I brought this just off the Good Times cover, and it was just like, from the second I put it on, it's like I fell in love with it, and I'll be playing this up until the day I die. You know, it's just one of those albums that just, you know, stands the test of time. So I'm with you on I Want You. The next joint, the reason we're gonna get into this is because around 95, when we were at Morgan and up at EAA, and my man Roots, we used to always have these big debates, and his big thing was Group Home's Living Proof album versus Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links. And the reason why he wanted to
That's not fair.
Well, the reason he wanted to put those two albums against each other, because it kind of was Premier at his best. You know, I know a lot of cats say Group Home is Premier's best work. I know Bezo feels that way. I know a lot of people feel that way. I'm not beefing with that. I can see that. I really made me feel like Moment of Truth, but neither here nor there. And it kind of was like RZA at his best. It was like, okay, you know, Meph's album wasn't what we thought, you know, but Only Built for Cuban Links, production-wise, was so incredible. Two of hip-hop's dopest producers at the time, two of their dopest pieces of music. Which one is better? JP, I'll start with you. Group Home or Ray?
Can I ask a quick question though? Are we including lyrics into this?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Not doing lyrics?
No, we're not including lyrics.
All right.
Okay.
If we're not including lyrics, then I'm gonna have to go with Living Proof. Group Home. Yeah. It's not even hard for me. And you know, as much as I love RZA and you know his distinctive style, I mean Primo, man. I mean, God damn, man. It's just the beats that he gave. You know, the funny thing, it's a sidebar. I was just listening to a podcast with Primo today, talking about how Malachi didn't want to do that album. He had to make him do the album because he was about to go to jail, and and Primo had to go to the court and plead with the judge, like, you know, he wanted to get him into boxing because that's what he liked to do. But she was like, the judge was like, nah, that's still fighting. He got these charges or whatever. She's like, you make music, if he make an album, whatever, keep him off the street, then you know he won't have to go to jail or whatever. So he was like, Malachi never wanted to do that album. Never wanted to. He was bitching about doing it, like, yo, I don't want to do this or whatever. He's like, I had to make him do that album. It's crazy. But, you know, I mean, but beat wise, Primo hands down, man. I mean, oh my God, man. I just can't even, I haven't listened to it in a minute, but I remember when I first heard it, and besides thinking about, yo, these rhymes are horrible, I was like, yo, these beats is crazy though. So it would make you. That's how good it is. It makes you. It makes you go through the album regardless of the MCs are not that good. I'll still sit through that album just for the beats, and I can tune them out. Like I can tune them out. Him and Lil Dap, I can tune them out. So I mean, for that alone, man, I gotta go with Living Proof.
All right, Grab, what you got?
Yeah, like I gotta go with JP on this one, man. RZA definitely did his thing with that Cuban Links, only built for Cuban Links, but JP, I'ma just say Getaway Car Mix. Getaway Car Mix. Alright, that's all I'm gonna say. Yo, I have the record, man. I have the record, man.
Yeah, the original.
Hold on, let me. I got one. I got one. I'm about to go pull mine out.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pull it out.
I
got the OG back there. I'm gonna pull it out.
Yes. Yo, the beats for that Living Proof, man. I mean, yes, definitely, man. I give it to Preem, yo. Living Proof, man.
Even just
Superstar. That's
the
right.
first single, man. Superstar. That was the first single, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. That was Cameo, right? Wasn't that a Cameo record?
Hanging downtown. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it for you right now. Trying to find it right now, yo.
What did you say?
I said,
you was breaking up again. What did you say one more time?
Nah, Group Home Already. Who you got?
Yeah, man. I gotta go with Group Home, man. Like, I think for me, the introduction to that album, to Living Proof, when Primo's scratching and he's scratching and I am the star of this act. Yo, to me, I don't know if he meant to do it like that, but to me, he stated it like, yo, this is my album, this is my shit, and this is what I'm going to do. And just like Grab said, man, one of my favorite beats. Getaway Car Remix. That
Getaway Car Mix, yeah. Good God, beat.
Like to this day, when I put it on, I just get goosebumps, man.
Just goosebumps. Thank you. Just going out, yo.
Yeah, exactly.
Going out.
I'm gonna have to play that tonight. But yeah, man, Living Proof, Group Home, Primo's masterpiece.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. For me, I gotta go with Group Home too. You know what I'm saying? I remember getting it at EAA, and I remember playing it. I think we played the album like 3 times that night. Like we just literally like played the whole damn album. I remember people calling up like, "Yo, I want to request a song." I'm like, "Nope, we playing Group Home tonight." So don't tell me you want to hear nothing else. All we're listening to is Group Home. And like you said, the intro when he came in with the Yesterday sample. And it just because I'm like, yo, that's the Beatles Yesterday.
Yeah, man.
That's the Beatles. Like, it was like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, that ain't the white boy singing that. Like, what is that? And it just sent me out on a wild goose chase to find that. I think it's West Montgomery to find the original joint. But it just, from that point, it was like, yo, is that Yesterday by the Beatles? Yeah. Like, yo, what the? It was like, yo, this dude is sampling the Beatles, but why does it sound like that? And it just kept going. Inner City Life, and it just kept Living Proof, and it literally just kept rolling downhill. It was like an avalanche, like you just couldn't stop it, and it just kept going. And then
I'm sorry, Kim, my bad. Go ahead, man. I'm not bad. I'm excited.
What you gonna say?
I was gonna say that the intro, man. When they was shooting dice.
The dice game.
The dice game.
Oh, right there was crazy.
My man says fuck that like 10 times. Word up. Before they get him out the room. He say fuck that like 10 times before they finally get him out the room. Yo, I love that shit, yo.
And then when after that it goes into some old La Feliz. It's funny because we gonna talk about it because Pete do a lot of that stuff too. They be doing them little interludes and they be pissing me off. Cause I'm like, why isn't this the whole damn song?
Right.
Why is that beat not being used? For a song that could have been like a B-side or something for the Group Home. That beat that you talking about, Ev, during the dice game, could have been an ill J. Voodoo, group posse cut or whatever like that. But it's like, yo, you just got dudes shooting dice over it. So, I just feel like, again, love only built for Cuban Links. I listen to this joint all the time, but it just was when it came to production, and maybe the argument was better at that time because I remember in '95 us very hard going back and forth with each other about which one was better. Like now it seems like it's a landslide, but maybe it would have been different I know it was different having this debate in '95 when they both dropped.
Right.
I think years later is more of that because I remember Cash was about to go to blows up in there like on some Scarface. Yo, seriously, like Cash was like, yo, Incarcerated Scarface is better than the realness. Say it ain't one more time. Like it was getting heated in there, but I mean, and then the realness, and then just the way Mac Wiles just freaked the real
goodness,
turned it into an R&B joint. But it's like the real,
crazy.
Oh my God, man, come on, man.
Crazy.
That's just stupid. That's just stupid. But on to our next joint. This one may be a little more, ain't bad. We'll stay in the Wu-Tang realm. We're talking about Ghostface Killer's Iron Man versus Supreme Clientele. Both crazy albums. Both loved them to death. JP, what you got? Ghostface, Iron Man, or Supreme Clientele?
I mean, I have to go back to the impact it made on me, man. I'm tempted to say Iron Man, because I'm a huge Ghost fan, man. I think he's the only member of the Wu that I think I've bought almost every solo album. So I'm gonna have to go with Supreme Clientele, man. I mean, Apollo Kids, what's the other joint? I can't think of the name. Ghost Dini, you know what I'm saying? Even the intro, like just different stuff. I'm gonna have to go with that, man. I mean, I loved Iron Man. It was a great first album, even he's good for rhyming over them slow type joints, and you know what I'm saying, like the joint that he had with Mary on the first album, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like even joints like that, I was like, it was no beat, no drums, nothing.
Nothing. Killed it.
He just killed it. So, but I'm gonna have to go with Supreme Clientele, man. Apollo Kids was my joint, son. Apollo Kids was crazy to me.
Yeah, that joint was crazy. What you got? Supreme Clientele or Iron Man?
I'm actually might start some controversy, man. When Into the 36 Chambers dropped, I was not a Ghostface fan.
No,
I didn't like Ghostface, man. I wasn't
a Ghostface fan, to be honest with you. I mean,
it was over time.
I guess by saying that, I didn't really hear Iron Man like that because I didn't really give it any real spin. I didn't really start listening to Ghost to like Supreme Clientele, and even then, I thought it was pretty dope, but. Like Fish Scale for me is my favorite Ghostface album.
Oh, Fish Scale was dope.
I can't really give a good honest exactly, because I never really listened to Iron Man. So I would just by default say Supreme Clientele because that's the one that I heard.
All right. What about you, Brad?
What year did those albums come out, man?
Iron Man came out in '96. Supreme Clientele came out. And let me see.
Had to be like 98.
Yeah, it had to be like 99, something like that.
I'm gonna go with Ev, man. Yo, I was making music around that time. Like I was making beats and stuff, so I wasn't really listening per se to stuff. I might know, like if you say, all right, like give me some songs off of Iron Man, and I'll probably be like, yeah.
On Iron Man, you had Wildflower, Box in Hand, Fish, Camé, Daytona 500.
Okay, so Iron Man. My album would be Iron Man, because those are all songs that I've done.
Right.
Daytona 500, Wildflower. Those are all songs that I've done. So.
Yeah. I think the thing that got me, like you said, Ev, I don't think anybody after 36 Chambers was a big Ghost fan, but after listening to freaking Only Built for Cuban Links like a million times, I felt like that was my intro to Ghost.
Right.
And like,
okay. Does that make you go? Okay, I got you.
So it's like from that, because everybody, that's why a lot. And then if you remember, I think I sent you that RZA interview where he was saying, to be honest, only Built for Cuban Links really ain't just a Ray album. You know what I mean? It's almost a Ray Ghostface album together. Like that's what kind of
he's on the cover. Yeah, he's on the cover with Ray.
Right.
It's not a real so that's what brought me into Ghostface, was hearing Built for Cuban Links all them times. And then you got the flip, you got Ray on the cover on Iron Man and Captain. You know what I mean? You know, but that's what kind of put me on. I loved, and again, this is me on my cover joint. It's just like that color. I just love the colors. Pop. Like it's something about them colors and them looking at the wild that was just popped, and it was like, yo, I love this cover, and I love this.
I love that cover way more than the Supreme Clientele cover.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's just me and my album cover.
No, I understand that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just certain times. Yeah, certain album covers just talk to me, and this was one of them joints that just spoke to me. But I'm gonna go Supreme Clientele got bangers, because I mean Nutmeg was crazy, One was crazy, like you said, Ghosteen. I mean Sherez La Ghost, that joint, oh man, that thing. Apollo, but I think I gotta go with Iron Man, because it was like I could just throw Iron Man on, and Fish. When I heard Fish, I was like, man, and they messed it up because the original box in hand couldn't get cleared, and they put this whack version on here. You know, the original box in hand. And that's so much with Ghostface and just sample clearing. So many of his original songs are so much better than what actually made the album.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's it. But I gotta go with Iron Man on that joint. Next up the bat, we got JP gave me this one. I don't know how I forgot about this joint, but we gonna go in on Mike Jackson. What's better, Off the Wall or Thriller? Which joint is better? I'm going to start some controversy with this, I'm sure.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Okay, well, maybe I'm not. Let me go first and say, when JP hit me with that, I was like, yo, I always remember these debates, and I always remember being the odd man out, because I like Off the Wall so much better than Thriller. I mean, to be honest, I love Thriller, but when it comes down to which one do I like more, like, I didn't even have to think about this. Like, it's Off the Wall. Like, you know, and it bugs me out because I've been in numerous conversations, and people are like, yo, you're bugging. Thriller is much better than, you know, this is. And I'm like, look, I don't care if it sold 2 zillion records. It's a very dope album. I like it. I love Human Nature. I love PYT.
9 songs.
Yeah, you know, I love Lady in My Life. I think that's one of the dopest slow songs ever. But this Off the Wall, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Rock With Your Working Day. I mean, I don't even see it being close to me. But Ev, what you say on this one?
Well, I got to go first. Hold on, I have to go back and do a little bit of research real fast, because I haven't listened to Off the Wall in a while.
Oh goodness.
I can go.
Yeah.
I can go. If you gotta think about it, I can go.
Yeah. Go. Go
ahead, Greg.
What you got, Greg?
I say Off the Wall, man. Off the Wall. To me, it's funkier than Thriller. You know what I mean? It's more funkier. Thriller is definitely that represents his step up. You know what I mean? But in him stepping up, it got more fluffier, got more extravagant, more more bigger. You know what I mean? Whereas with the Off the Wall, so it's a little more funky, a little more stripped down. It's still got these violins and things in there, but it's just not as poppy as Thriller is. You know what I mean? For me. So I definitely have to go with Off the Wall, man. That's just a funky ass album.
I mean, just with Off the Wall, when Don't Stop Till You Get Enough comes on, when that starts, there's just nothing on Thriller that matches that. When I hear that, there's nothing on Thriller that matches the way I feel when I hear Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, and God forbid Don't Put Rock With You on. Like, it's just certain songs. As much as I love Thriller, I mean, as much as we all had the Beat It jackets and the Thriller videos and all that stuff, there's just, like you said, JP, that feeling that was Off the Wall just wasn't there as much for me for Thriller. What you say, JP?
I'm with you. Off the Wall. I think, for one, you know, and when it comes to things like this, and when you ask, what's your favorite song by this artist? What's your favorite song by that artist? And you always have a hard time. And with Michael Jackson, for me, I've never had a hard time. My favorite Michael Jackson song is "Can't Help It," hands down. That's my favorite song. And my second favorite song is "Rock with You," and they both on that album, like
on the same album.
On the same album, and I can say that with no problems. Those are my two favorite Michael Jackson songs. And you know, like you said, "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." Even the title track, "Off the Wall," is crazy.
Yo,
it's a more soulful album.
Let me throw something in there. Me and you, Grant, were just talking about this the other day. That Off the Wall sample, that Pete Freak for that "Stay Away" with Rob and Pos, man. That man.
Retarded, man. When I'm telling you, when he played that in the studio, Pos was just bugging out, man. Like we all was bugging out, really. Like, but like Pos was really taken aback by that sample, by that.
But like you said, the Off the Wall joint is crazy. Yeah. And to be honest, one of the songs that I wasn't off on, you know what put me up on? I forgot what mixtape DJ put me up on this. It may have been Dog Time. I think Dog Time was out of Queens, but it's the Falling in Love. I never was a big fan of that song during the album, but I don't know what happened. I don't know what beat. You know how back in the day, you know, the DJs would have not the acapella, but had a joint. They have another beat. Yo, I love It's the Falling in Love. Like Off the Wall is just yeah.
I mean, Thriller was you know, his biggest album, and a lot of times your biggest selling album may not be your best album. You know what I'm saying? You know, just like with Jay's biggest selling album was what? In My Lifetime, Volume 2. Yeah, the Hard Knock Life joint, right? So, you know, most people won't say that's his best album. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it happens like with this. You know, and I love Baby Be Mine on Thriller, Pretty Young Thing. PYT is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, Billie Jean, that was the more crossover. It was still soulful, but it was the more crossover. The beat, it was more like, you know, he definitely springboarded from Off the Wall to, you know what I'm saying, to Thriller. But I still got to give it to Off the Wall, man. Plus the glow-in-the-dark socks on the album cover, son.
Oh, man, stop. And he still had the fro. It was like curly a little bit. Yo, he's still killing him.
Like when he was Black Mike. But and then also the music production from Quincy from, you know, Off the Wall dropped in 79, which means it probably was recorded in 77 to 78.
Right.
And Thriller being recorded, dropping in 82. You know, it's that switch of style. You know, the soulfulness kind of went out in the 80s. Like, you know, it became much more of a electronic sounding music than it was in the 70s. But you got something?
I'm just gonna say this. You know, you got Beat It. You know what I'm saying? You got leather jackets with rhinestones on it. You know, nah. Off the Wall. I had to go back and do a double check to see the songs on Off the Wall, but definitely Off the Wall, man. But y'all said all the reasons I was gonna say. First, it was Black Mike. It was Mike before, you know, Mike started making the switch and the chains. But it was not necessarily a pop album. For me, it was more of a soulful record, whereas Thriller got more into the pop market a little bit, which is the reason why I sold so much. But me personally, I like Off the Wall better because more of the songs that I really love, like, you know, I'm a dancer, so, you know, back in the day, we'd be at Fluid or whatever like that, and you throw some Mike on, I'm going to get more hype off of the songs off the Wall than I would off of Thriller. Not to take anything away from Thriller, but Off the Wall is just going to be the one that's going to have me sweating and spinning and, like, really zoning out. So, Off the Wall.
Yes.
All right, Off the Wall. We got that. All right, we're going to go back to the R&B side of things for a minute, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite artists. This is actually the dude that made me really like R&B. Prior to this artist, I only listened to R&B for like slow jam tapes, and when I'd be making slow jam tapes with a shorty coming over or something like that. But this is the artist that made me really mess with R&B like that, and that's D'Angelo. You know what I mean? So we're going to rock with the Brown Sugar versus Voodoo. What joint was better? What joint did you enjoy more? I'll start with you, JP. Brown Sugar or Voodoo?
Brown Sugar. Like, that's not even, you know. I mean, for the fact that maybe if Voodoo would have came out, like Brown Sugar came out in 94, right? Voodoo didn't come out till 2000. So that's a 6-year span, you know what I mean? And when you have to wait that long for an album, your expectation grows. And Voodoo was a good album, but it probably would have been even well received if it would have came out in '96 as opposed to 2000. Because when you have to wait that long, most people's anticipation is like, yo, this is gonna be crazy. It's been and it's a good album, but it's not like what you was expecting. So it's almost too much. Like he couldn't have made an album that much better than the first album so many years later. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was a good album. I love the first single with Red and Meth. You know what I'm saying? What was the name of that joint again?
Left and Right. Oh,
Left and Right. I thought that joint was crazy, but I mean, you know, Me and Those Dreamy Eyes of Mine, Shit, Damn, motherfucker. I mean, those lady, all them songs it's unbeatable. His first album was his best album. I mean, he only got 2 to compare, but I mean, it's Brown Sugar, hands down.
All right, what you got, Brad?
I have to say Voodoo for me because it's a little more exotic sounding. Like, I agree with JP. Brown Sugar is definitely that joint, like them joints he mentioned, Lady, Shit, Damn, you know, all them joints, like, definitely hard. But just Voodoo just seemed like he just, like, went into himself and, like, really, like, I don't know, brothers just really go in and tap into some shit and come out with these sensual, sonically sensual albums like that touch you. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would definitely say Voodoo, man. It's a little more funkier for me. Just a little more raw. You know what I mean? In terms of sonics, in terms of the production too. This seems a little more raw to me. Right. Yeah, I definitely would go with that one.
Yo, what you got, Brown Sugar or Voodoo?
Yo, I gotta say hands down Voodoo. Yeah, I think Voodoo was a classic album. JP's right, it was a lot of anticipation, but I think he came with it strong. That joint dropped on a blizzard day. I remember the day that shit dropped. It was a blizzard in North Philly. It was like 6 feet of snow, seemed like. But I remember just having that joint and taking it to the crib and playing it, and it was just like ridiculous. The funny thing is, probably my least favorite song is the one with Red and Meth because it just didn't. As I say, to me, it didn't really fit with that album.
Yeah.
But you got to start off. You got one of the nastiest beats, which was Devil's Pie, which was just a ridiculous song. But then when he goes into Send It On, The Room. Oh my God! Untitled and then Africa. Oh, so many. It was so much nastiness.
Great Day in the Morning, Booty.
Great Day. Feel Like Making Love.
On the end. Oh man.
Yeah, it was Chicken Grease. It was so much on that album that I think this Voodoo is the reason why we ain't heard from D'Angelo in 14 years. Because how do you follow that up? Like, you just got to put time in between it to be able to do anything. So for me, I have to say Voodoo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the funny thing is like I said, like D'Angelo was like I said, that's the dude. After hearing them joints, like you said, JP, you know, I remember hearing Brown Sugar and being like, it's cool. And then my man was like, yo, he talking about weed. I was like, a word? You know what I mean? And then it was like, yo, then my man Frank called me over. He was like, yo, you got to hear this joint called Damn Motherfucker. And I'm like, what's that about? He's like, yo, his girl is banging his man, and then he kills them both. I'm like, yo, this is my kind of nigga right here. Like, this is this dude been. You know, I'm so used to it. Because R&B to me was like, Joe was always dudes begging, like all the things your man won't do, and Babyface, soon as I get home. I'm like, yo, what's up with all these dudes just kissing ass or whatever like that? You know what I mean? And no, I'm dead serious. Like, this is how I felt. Like, it was like, yo, that's cool for the R&B, for my little slow jam taste. But I'm like, yo, I can't just listen to this all the time. I'm going to turn into one of these sucker dudes, you know? But it's like, yo, when I heard Lady and oh, God, just every When Will Get By and everything.
When Will Get By, that's my
joint.
joint.
When Will Get By. Whoa.
The funny thing
about the best Prince rendition
for Voodoo, and even the joint I was talking about earlier with the XXL, is like when Voodoo came out, and to me, they're two totally different albums. Right. You know what I mean? So to be honest, I really shouldn't even be comparing the two because they're two totally different albums. It's almost like I should have said something more like almost like Erykah Badu's Baduism, because Baduism and Mama's Gun are two totally different albums too.
Right.
You know? Like if you're listening to Baduism and then you listen to Mama's Gun, like both those albums And it's no coincidence that they were both produced by the Soul Aquarians that it kind of went totally different than what their first album did. But for me, when Voodoo came out, man, I love, like, Voodoo is one of my favorite albums. You know what I mean? Like, just the whole thing from beginning. And downstairs in the living room, I got 6 CDs on a shelf that to me, like, represent me. Like, if you came over and you like, damn, let me see what Kill listen to. Voodoo is one of those CDs that's down there. Like, I love Voodoo. I remember listening to that shit and just not listening to nothing else for months. But I remember talking, shout out to my people, the Minion Crew, Ski, Sherrod, all them dudes. They used to come through EAA and they was like, yo, this album is whack. You know, they did not like Voodoo because they wanted Brown Sugar Part 2, and that's not what that was at all. You know what I'm saying? But my vote got to go to Voodoo too. But yo, for the last joint, I want to say this the last because, you know, this is one of the other, probably the most other next to Tribe that I've always gotten into. What's better, Mecca and the Soul Brother, or the main ingredient, Pete Rock and CL Smooth? I wanted to end the show with that because I know Grap is going to have some ill behind the stories for it and everything.
Hopefully, I remember.
You know what I mean? So, Grap, for you, what is the better album, Pete and CL drop, the main ingredient, or Mecca and the Soul Brother?
Well, for me, man, I have to break it down into two things. Beat wise, in terms of beat wise, oh wow, I would have to say, beat wise, man, probably main ingredient because it showed his progression in production. Lyric wise, I'll have to say Mecca and the Soul Brother. Because of CL's subject matter at the time, it was a little more universal, and instead of it became a little myopic with the main ingredient, with him rhyming more about females and things of that nature. But he had some joints on there too. And by the way, I don't know if cats know that he had a joint on there where him and what's name used to have subliminal beef. Him and Wu-Tang. They used to have little, little subliminal beef. I'll explain that in a second. But beat wise, yeah, definitely. Mecca and the Soul Brother is hard because that joint, I just loved how big those beats were. You know what I mean? How big those beats were, and but like with the main ingredient, I was there when he made some of those beats out, you know, and I don't know, it just I don't know. And then Mecca and the Soul Brother has Reminisce, which is like the game changer for him, like that, and Shut 'Em Down remix of the two game changers for him. So, oh man. Overall, I would have to say Mecca and the Soul Brother, yo.
Mecca and the Soul Brother.
Yeah, I would have to say Mecca and the Soul Brother. Overall, I would have to say Mecca and the Soul Brother.
Right.
But if I had to split between the two, it would be, you know, for beef, it would definitely be main ingredient. But the funny thing with main ingredient is that I didn't like the title track, main ingredient. I didn't like that beat.
Yo, the funny thing is, I wasn't feeling it either when it first came out because the A side was I Gotta Love and the B side was main ingredient, and I was like, it's cool, but I didn't feel like it had that oomph like I Gotta Love had.
Yeah. But with the subliminal beef, well, it came from Straighten It Out. When CL said more disciplined than a Shaolin monk. At the time, we didn't know anything about Staten Island being called Shaolin or any of that stuff. Like, we didn't know. I don't even think Wu-Tang had been out then. That was like 91. That when that record dropped, 91, 92. I don't think Wu-Tang was officially out then. But more disciplined than a Shaolin monk. Then what's the song? People Are You With Me? Where You At? From the front to the back, Killer Bees in the back.
Right.
That joint, Ray had said something about I'm not feeling something, dudes in Lexus seats, something. And then we got enough niggas to slap niggas' father, something he had said, like a lyric pertaining to them pulling off in the Lexuses in the Straighten It Out video.
Okay.
And then CL came back on that joint. Check it out. Check it out. You know that one. When he says, if you only be second best or something like that, and then it starts off. It got that interlude, man. He's talking. The man is talking. They say you can only be second best, and they go, hey, It's like that's the beat. But the CL has said something on there. What he said, with so much discipline, you think there's something from Shaolin. I can't remember it right now, but go back and listen to it. Trust me, he said something like, CL's a samurai slicing, dicing you down when the mic is around. Like it was something to that effect. But before that, he had mentioned Shaolin again, and then he said something to counter it. Like, but it was like a little subliminal thing going on. Then Pete ended up working with them, so you know that I guess that deaded that or whatever. But
All right, so
it's Mecca and the Soul Brother, man. I have to do it the first album. Yeah.
All right, no doubt. Ev, what you say, Mecca or Main Ingredient?
I say Mecca and the Soul Brother. I actually agree with a lot with Grap. You know, I think Pete on Main Ingredient. I always say Pete is, every producer is different, and Pete is like a conductor for an orchestra. I feel like in Mecca and the Soul Brother, he might have had like maybe 6 pieces, a 6-piece orchestra. When on Main Ingredient, he just had this whole like chamber. You know what I mean? This whole orchestra. And the way he conducted that was just like, you know, it was a masterpiece, man. You know, I kind of lose the words to really reflect what I really mean, but the way he put that together, nobody does it like Pete does. So I feel like the beats were better on Main Ingredient, but as an MC, I feel like CL just kind of drifted. He drifted off a lot. I feel like, you know, his subject matter, he was on, but then he might have been over here, then he comes back, then he might have been over here. So for me, it was a little bit harder for me to follow him on Main Ingredient. But I think for me, altogether, I just like the structure of Mecca and the Soul Brother a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Just with, you know, the topics, the rhymes, the beats, the whole nine. It just made Mecca and the Soul Brother was a better package for me than Main Ingredient. But they're two definitely like ridiculously dope albums.
Mm-hmm. And on a personal note, the recording of Mecca and the Soul Brother stands out with me a little more than the recording of Main Ingredient. Like I remember more of the recording of Mecca and the Soul Brother than I do of Main Ingredient.
All right.
Plus, man, it was this intro on that joint, and the cat was like, I be the G, the R, the A, the A. Dude was nasty, man.
You talking about the little freestyle after Eminem. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I had an ill experience with that. One time I was in D&D Studios, and I'm, you know, in D&D. I forgot. I'm more than likely I'm there with Pete. I'm in D&D, and Little Fame walks out of one of the studios, and I'm at the vending machine, and I turn, I see him, I'm like, oh snap, Little Fame. So I immediately introduced myself, yo, I'm Grap Lover, yo, enough respect, yo, man, appreciate your work, you dope, boom, 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 blah, blah, blah. So he says, yo, what, you say your name Grap? I said, yeah. He said, Grap Lover? I was like, yeah. He's like, yo, you the one who spit that freestyle on Mecca and the Soul Brother? I was like, yeah, that was me, yo. That was me. He's like, yo, that was crazy, son. That was crazy. He's like, and he just stood there for about 5 seconds. He's like, yo, spit that again, man. Spit it again right now. Dude. I was like, whoa. So I started spitting it, and homie, and Fame helped me finish the joint. He remembered it. So I never realized like how that helped me realize the impact of that freestyle. Like, I like a lot of MCs that are rocking right now who know the history, they respect that freestyle. I'm very humbled by that, like very humble.
Yeah, every time I'm with Grap, I'm like, yo, when the Grap Lover Soul album coming? I've been waiting for it, you know. But it's not coming one day, Grap. One day we gonna get you do it, man.
That's what it is. Soon enough, man.
JP, let me ask Grap a quick. No, you know what, JP? Let's get you first. What joint you prefer better?
For me, man, let me take you on a journey through Carmel City. Let's see who else got. Yo, that shit right there.
Yes, yo. That beat is crazy. That beat is crazy.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, and I say this
not to cut you off, JP. Not to cut you off, but there's a version of it where Vinny is singing in the hook.
Word?
Yes, there's a version of it. I have it on cassette. I gotta find it. There's a version of it.
There,
singing in the hook.
You know, another thing, if somebody had to put a gun to my head and ask me what was my favorite hip hop song ever, I say they reminisce, man. Because I remember, I used to, my man Chaos, who's a DJ, when that song was out, I used to be like, yo, play this song. He'd be in a party. I mean, you gotta play this song, son. Keep playing it. That was my song, son. And to this day, it makes me feel the same way. Between that, the video was dope. Everything was just dope. And, you know, it was saying something. And you know, all the other songs on the album, the Mecca and the Soul Brother, the song, crazy. But I have to tell you, man, Main Ingredient really did it for me, man. Like, the first joint in the house. Oh my god, that beat is crazy, son.
That was one of Pete's illest verses.
Oh my god, and you know, escape, and it's on you. Like them joints to me. Like I remember when Main Ingredient came out. I remember sitting down, you know, playing in the tape and just sitting there and just listening over and over, listening to what he's saying, listen to the beats in between the beats. You know, like I feel like. And like you said, when I Gotta Love came out, I didn't really feel it. I was like, but then when I got the whole album, I was like, it makes sense to me, man. So I'm a Main Ingredient dude, man. That's my joint. Main Ingredient, my favorite album, right there.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Me, I think the hard part is, and again going back to what JP was talking about feeling. Yo, I really don't know, man. Like I don't know because. Yo, Mecca and the Soul Brother, I remember just hearing songs, just over, like hearing joints, and it was just like, yo, on and on. It's like that. Can't run on the bass. I mean, the Basement, I remember literally being like, you know, damn, this song is like, these joints were just perfect. You know what I mean? Like, they were just perfect hip hop songs. I mean, Skins,
man.
He edited with the hey instead of it being the curse, instead of backwards, him using the hey from James Brown. Like, yo, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, yo, now y'all just showing off. But then the flip is, yo, we going back to these album covers. Yo, the back of this album cover, and probably because this is 94, I didn't get my ASR till 95, so I probably the back of this album cover at nights. Like, yo, this was like a porn mag to me. Like, yo. The S5 fit, like this was like staring at a naked woman to me right here. Like
I have that turntable right here, man. Yeah, that turntable on that album cover. It's right here.
It's like I said, I was just staring at this, man, and then the front of it, them in
Can you see it?
Yeah.
That's it right there.
That's crazy. You know what?
That's the turntable. That's on that album cover.
And JP, like you said, the way In the House came on with the biz.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, Carmel City, I Get Physical, Sun Won't Come Out. Oh God, man, it's on you. God, I must have heard this a million times, man.
Beat wise, that joint is woo.
Yo, I don't even know which one. I don't.
Gun to the head. Gun to the head.
Oh man, shit! I'm gonna have to go with Mecca. I don't know. I guess Mecca. I don't. Yo, I honestly, out of all these songs and albums that we listed, this is the hardest one. It's like how Grab said, you gotta be like
Mecca Ingredient.
The Mecca Ingredient.
Gun to the head, Kill. Gun to the head. Come on. I had to do it.
Gun to the head. I can only take one Mecca.
Okay.
And that's got to be just off of, like you said, JP, reminiscing. Remembering the first time I heard Reminisce. Remembering being on the bridge at Morgan and hearing people blasting Straighten It Out and hearing them horns and seeing the videos and all of that stuff. Like, so it's got to just be for that. But I'll go, and it's crazy because I thought I was going to say Main Ingredient, but I think I got to go with Mecca. What I wanted to ask Grap real quick is, by you being there, I know a lot of times the sophomore slump, things change because people change kind of like their regimen. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like we're big now, we don't go to the studio, we don't hang out, everything like that. Whereas with Main Ingredient, it was such a dope album that we're stuck on which one is better. The Pete's recording process changed from Mecca to the main ingredient, or did he just follow the same program? And is that why you think it? And if he did stay the same, do you think that's why main ingredient was so dope?
I don't think the process changed. I think what it was is that the elements of what he was using kind of changed. Like instead of him just going straight from the records, he incorporated some Rhodes keyboards in there with searching and just different elements. I think kind of changed. More singing. He had Vinia singing on more records. Just that I think changed. I don't think it was so much his process. You know what I mean? He still was rocking with Jamie Staub. He still had Jamie mixing the stuff. So, and he was still using Green Street. You know what I mean? At the time, unless somebody had booked it, but most of the time he had that joint booked out. That was like his second home. So he used that most of the time. But I don't think the process changed so much. I think just the elements, what he was grabbing. I think he just started finding doper records. You know what I mean? And doper ideas started coming to him. You know what I mean? In terms of the music. But the interlude at the end of that album, two things about Main Ingredient. If you listen to Fantastic Volume 2, that was the blueprint. Like Main Ingredient was that album's blueprint, because that was Jay Dilla's favorite album, was Main Ingredient by PECL. So if you listen to Fantastic Volume 2 and you listen to Main Ingredient, you can see the parallels between the two albums. Even at the end, how Pete had an ill-ass interlude at the end, Dilla was like, I'm gonna have an ill-ass interlude at the end of Fantastic Volume 2. And that interlude Dilla had at the end was friggin' retarded. But another thing, the interlude at the end of Pete's joint, if you listen to Voodoo, D'Angelo, while he's being interviewed by that chick, is talking about that interlude. Right before, I think, the song Great Day in the Morning. He's talking about that interlude. If you listen to the interview, you hear him say, yeah, that joint was mine. I just love that joint. I just asked him what he used and something. You hear him talking about it. And I'm like, oh, wow. And you hear it playing in the background, like they're playing the interlude over. The boom, 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 boom. Like they're playing it over on the Voodoo album, and you can hear it in her talk, and then she's like interviewing him while it's playing over, and he says something about it. Like basically, D'Angelo loved that shit. So that's a hard pick, man. But yeah, but I don't think I think he just he just started getting doper records. He was still using the SP, touching the 950 here and there. He hadn't gone to the MPC yet. You know what I mean? Wasn't no major. Only thing he had incorporated the Rhodes keyboards into it, and a little more singing with Vinia, you know what I mean? And the girl Crystal Johnson, because she sang on Take You There. Crystal Johnson.
Yo, it's funny, real quick, Take You There. It was funny because at the same time on OC's album, Buckwild had used the same Rising to the Top sample. You know what I mean? And I remember both of these joints was kind of singles at the same time, and I forgot who did it, but one of my old heads sat me down. I was like, oh man, both them beats the same. And he looked at me like, yo, you stupid as hell. Sit down and listen to Buck. Now sit down and listen to Pete. And it was like, yo, you right, my dude. These are two. It's the same sample, but no wrong that Pete had and Take You There. And there's no disrespect to Buck or OC, nothing like that. But it was just like, he was like, my dude, they're using the same samples, but they're two totally different songs. You know,
Pete had told me, he said that was a very difficult record to make for him. Like, for some reason, like the sampling it like just right was like really hard. So he said he can tell when people have used Take You There for their version of using that, Kenny Burke Rising to the Top. He said he can tell when people have used Take You There. Like, I think he said the song that LL did, Who Do You Love or whatever, I think he said they used it. They sampled Take You There, but I'm not sure how whichever one he used, where he used Take You There in there, where he used Kenny Burke Riding to the Top, whichever record that was, LL did. He said, I think Pete said, Leo, I think they sampled my record, because he said it's very hard to sample it that clean, like to sample it that clean. And if you listen to Buck's version, it sounds choppy like. The sample sounds choppy, whereas Pete sounds a little more fluid. You know what I mean? But he said it was hard for him to make that joint, but he made it. And the rest is history, you know?
That's a classic joint right there. So look, another dope episode of Live from the Writer's Bench. But my man Grap Lover, he initiated the show. He came up with the name The Pullout. You know what I mean? Before the show ends, anybody got vinyl, one piece of vinyl that they want to throw up, you know, I'll go last. I got a little treat over here, you know, especially since everything we've been talking about. So who got something on tap first?
I do, but I don't want to show the cover of it. I got a bunch of stuff right here. I don't have no like beats, but I just got
I don't got no beats. I just got some old classic joints.
Classic joints, right? Yeah, same here.
Lonnie.
What you got there? Oh, the Lonnie Liston joint. Yeah.
Lonnie Liston joint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull out something sexy. Hold on.
You said I'll pull out something sexy.
Yeah, hold on, brother.
What you got?
Because we was talking about this.
Yes, sir. That's it, right. That's it right there. You know what? I got two things. I got this joint right here. Oh, you got that? You know what? I'll come with something to come with that. But first, I'll hit you with this joint right here. The Beyond Body and Soul Generation joint right here.
Oh, okay.
This is a banger right here. I caught this just because the dudes on the back. Anytime you see 4 dudes dressed like this, you know, you gotta buy the album. You know what I'm saying? So that's that joint. What's that, Grap?
Sexy red vinyl, baby.
Okay.
Jazz joint. This is a jazz joint. I'm just y'all the back cover, like, you know. It ain't really y'all, but when we go off air, I'll show y'all the front cover, but I ain't gonna get a word cover. There's something on here I might want to use, man. So I'm just giving you the sexy red vinyl. It's a jazz album on red vinyl. Classic, 2 classic artists right here. You know what I mean? Word up.
That's what it is. What did you have on a second ago? Soul of the Bible. Who's that?
Cannonball Adderley.
Cannonball Adderley.
Oh, okay.
Check it out when you get a chance. This is Cannonball on his semi-sacrilegious, semi-not, but really pushing the. It's a pretty dope album. It's a jazz joint.
I got this Donald Byrd.
You know, that's that I feel like loving you today for group home. Sir, I see y'all work. I see y'all.
This whole album, Isaac Hayes produced this whole Donald Byrd album.
Nah, I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that.
I never peeped that.
Nice.
That Grap.
Oh, you
This
can't
is a California concert joint. It has a live version of Red Clay on there for you.
Oh, that's dope.
Word.
Who was saying Sucker Nigga was their favorite joint? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little live.
This is a joint I got right here.
Got the Red Clay on it.
This joint actually came with the Checker Technique book. It's a 7-inch of Smith & Wesson's Home Sweet Home.
A 7-inch.
Okay.
Okay. 7-inch joint. Came with you caught the Checker Technique, and then it got the instrumental too. So, you know, and this is the original. I don't know if it can really get clear on the screen, but that's the original shot that they used for The Shining before they threw the ill background in it.
Right.
Do that. So, you know, that's a nice little piece right there too. But, you know, as usual, brothers, appreciate y'all.
All right.
We're gonna run through them real quick. We had Grap going with Low End Theory, me, JP, and Ev going with Midnight. JP went with Black Moon's Into the Stage. Me, Ev, and Grap went with The Shining. We had everybody going with I Want You, Marvin Gaye's joint. Everybody going with Group Home's Living Proof over Ray Kwan's Bill for Cuban Links. Everybody going with Mike Jack, Off the Wall, Thriller. We had me, JP, and Grap going with Iron Man, Ev going with Supreme Clientele, JP going with Brown Sugar, me, Grap, and Ev going with Voodoo, and me, Grap. JP, what did you pick for Pete and CL?
What's that main ingredient?
Main ingredient.
Main ingredient. All right, so we got JP with Main Ingredient and me, Grap, and Ev with Mecca. Another dope show. Like I said, you can't go wrong with any of these joints.
Right.
Please comments on the YouTube page, youtube.com/live from the bench. Leave comments. Let us know. Oh, see, now you digging for Dilla. See, now it's all you always. That right there, man. That right there is the one Tribe song. I won't say the one Tribe song. That's probably my favorite Tribe song off the Beats, Rhymes, and Life. Right there.
Now you want to talk Dilla. Here we go.
I'm not even up on that one. What's that?
This is Dancing Machine. This is Get It Together.
Yeah.
The Dancing Machine.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Another dope show. YouTube.com/live from the bench. Check us out every Monday. New shows up. You know what I mean? Shout out to all y'all. Shout out to Beto and Vic. You know what I mean? Comments coming, all that good stuff. Good looking JP. Grab Ev. Keep it locked.
One love. Peace.
Peace, no doubt.